Hey, welcome to Sunday. I'm live streaming. I'm trying to get a little better at this. I'm trying to make it look better. I am using OBS in case anyone's asking. Um, so yeah, I wanted to do this year in review because we should be celebrating our achievements. I think that a lot of the times when you're doing something, people might think that when you're talking about your achievements that you are bragging, and I am full on totally against that. So I want to talk about things that I've done this year, and then you can talk about the things that you've done. You can write in the chat like what you've done. I want to celebrate your wins. So yeah, let's get started with January. Oh my goodness, let's see, January. Where's it? There we go. So in January, I was in full swing of the Equalizer. And yeah, that is the set. That was the what's it called? Oh my goodness, what the hell was it called? Oh my god, I can't even remember because I haven't worked on the show in a few months. But it was oh my goodness, it's gonna come to me. It's gonna come to me. Oh my god, I cannot remember what the set was called. But we hated being in there. It always took. I felt like it honestly felt like forever when we were shooting in there. Like, and we never got our scenes done. We never finished our day. It was honestly it was like where days went to die on this set. um, okay, let's see. All right, we got, and I got a really awesome haircut. I got a really awesome haircut in January. And I haven't been able to get the same wave to my hair because, funny story, I ended up using my husband's shampoo, and he had that like keratin straightener in it, and it totally messed up my curls and my waves. And now I'm just like, my shit is like jacked up now. So I can't really say that I can achieve the type of curl now. But it's slowly like working its way. Like, I don't know, there's like formaldehyde that like makes it like it straightens your waves. It's like really jacked up. All right, and then okay, moving on to February. February. What else happened in January? Oh yeah, I hit 7,000 subscribers in January, and I did not post any videos in January. I'm not ashamed of it. Let's see, February I did my set PA class, and I really liked the space. It took me a long time to figure out what space I was going to do my set PA class in, but I really really loved that space. We had a lot of room. I had like this like projector thing. It was amazing, and then how many did I have? I had a full class. I sold out of the class, and then I had a couple of guest speakers. That was the first time I brought back past trainees into my class to talk to the current class, which was really, really great. And it turns out that people really liked meeting past trainees who actually had careers in film and stuff. So I decided to do that the next time too. Yeah, that's me helping with walkie training. It's always fun. We have walkie training, and like literally no one, everyone's like, get that walkie away from me. And that's exactly why I do walkie training, because everyone's intimidated by the walkie, and I want everyone to get used to it. Right. And then I made Beyond Film School stickers in, oh gosh, uh, March. We're on to March now. So, March, I was really happy and proud of these little stickers. I have some. I still have some. I give them out as much as I can. Little Beyond Film School stickers. I love them. I think they're the cutest thing ever. Right. And then also, I started organizing my DJI book, and I was still working on the Equalizer. I was still working on the. By the way, this is all like fake blood. Don't even worry about it. It's not real. This is oh god, what the makeup artist. She really really makes the magic happen. I'm trying to remember what her name was because it was a few months ago. Oh my goodness, I remember Jill. I remember oh my god, I'm blanking on her name. I feel really bad about it. It's in my phone somewhere. And yeah, still working on the Equalizer. Oh god, I wore my hat backwards all the time. People liked my hat backwards. I'm like, oh, look at me. I haven't done that in a hot minute. Um, and then I started running. I started running first team in I think it was April. I think I started running first team, and this is outside Queen Latifah's trailer, and that's my little tin where all the exhibit G's go. If you have questions about exhibit G's, please feel free to ask. um, Hold on 1 second. I want to see if the chat is actually working. I don't know if it is or not. Let me just check. When I'm streaming, I feel like the internet goes a lot slower. Okay. All right. Yeah, everything just loads so much slower. Well, you know what? Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. All right. So let's see what we got. Yes, we shot one day in Brooklyn at the new Amsterdam stages, and their stage is like right on the water. Look how friggin' pretty that is. I can't even believe how pretty that is. I loved being there, but it was, we were almost done. We were almost done with the season. And let's see, that was around May when I got my little vest, the little Equalizer 80 department vest. I love it. We were rapping. And like when you wrap long shows like that, people love giving gifts. Like everyone's giving out loads and loads of gifts. It's like I got so much stuff. I got like 3 bottles of vodka from like swim coordinators and like ADs, and like it's so much money from people. When you're a PA, you get tipped out when you're like first teamers. It's great. This is me at the Equalizer stage at the Izod Center in Jersey. They're not there anymore, but these are 2 of my trainees, Evan and Navar. And I thought they did so great. I thought they did amazing. They were both, both everyday additionals, and then he got like Navar got bumped up to a background PA, and Evan, we just loved him so much. We were like, put him everywhere. Like we wanted to put him in any position, but we couldn't book him full time. I was kind of upset about it, and I want to keep booking him, but he's not available. Evan, if you're watching this, I want to make sure that whatever you're trying to do film wise, you like, let me hire you. Let's see, in May when we did I think I wrapped the Equalizer first, and then I did my second class in May, and this is the second class, is the May class. I love this class so much because this class let's see, we have Robin, Jessica, Leona, Taisha, and Salam. Those ladies all have gotten consistent work, all have been staffed on stuff. Leona's down south now. Taisha came from down south, but she's in New York now. Let's see, Robin and Jessica are on the Equalizer now. Robin's actually going to be running first team, so I have to set up a meeting with her to talk about running first team on the Equalizer, because Lord knows it's a beast. But yeah, and the one thing I loved about this class was that they were all female, except for one. And I was like blown away. I was like, because people's names are just ambiguous to me. Like I have no idea sometimes like what what sex someone might be. So I was pleasantly surprised when I actually met everybody. It was great. Let's see. And then I did some merchandise. I created some things. I was very, very happy to start creating some things for Beyond Film School, shirts and stuff like that. So yeah, if you're looking for merchandise, that is there. And I love these things, but I guess I'm not happy with the company I chose, so I might be kind of revisiting who I print through, because I'm not really a fan of Spreadshirt, and I don't know if I'm not a fan of it, but I just feel like there's better out there, and I know that YouTube uses Spreadshirt a lot, so I have no idea. I don't know where I fall with what I'm going to do for like printing stuff going forward, with shirts and stuff like that, and sweaters. And in May, I started to organize my DJI book. This is like the beginnings of like just trying to compile everything, organize everything, and like this is like a huge crate. It's a huge crate with like all your pay stubs, all your call sheets, PRs, deal memos, all that stuff. It's like I just started like counting and trying to figure out what else I needed to gather to actually put my book together. And then after the Equalizer wrapped, I worked on Spinning Gold, and it is a movie about Casablanca Records. I think his name's Neil Bolgard back in the day, and Kiss was like one of his main artists and groups back then. I think there was some like really really cool shots. I think we shot the Kiss stuff first, was the most difficult, and I remember it was like the first day, and I had so many actors I had to get ready because I was like running first team again. It was like absolute bananas. I feel like it was like crazy. Let's see. 1 second. I want to make sure I can actually see the chat. I don't know. Oh, okay, yeah. So I cannot get my chat to work on the thing, and it's like kind of really, really annoying that I can't get my chat to work on the screen, but I will figure this out. God damn it. Hi Zoe. Hi Andrew. Hey from the UK. As someone looking to enter the film industry and aspiring to be an AD, thank you for your content. It has been really helpful. Thank you so much. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. Stuff like that makes me like all like warm and fuzzy, and I'm like, oh god. Let's see. I'm gonna take this chat off if I can't. Like if I can't make it work, it's very very annoying that I can't make it work. But we'll just make this bigger. Yeah. So I was working on Spinning Gold, and let's see. Make sure. I really liked it. I thought it was really, really cool working on that show. It was a very, very short feature, but they shot some of it, and I feel like Spinning Gold was like the one feature that was like trying to be made, and they couldn't make it. They shot some of it in let's see, they shot some of it in Canada. They shot some of it in, I think, LA at one point. It was kind of crazy. All right. And that's me at base camp because that's where I stayed. And every now and then I went to set to just kind of like watch things when I didn't have anything to do at base camp. And that's me like rocking my little Beyond Film School long sleeve shirt. Oh my god, I loved it. Yeah, this is another set. This is like the Donna Summer set. Like, I don't know when this movie's gonna come out, but these are like photos that I'm not supposed to post. So like, enjoy. I don't know what they're doing distribution wise. Who knows if this movie will ever see the light of day, but it was a pretty big movie with a lot of money behind it. And this is more of my DGA book. These are all like my pay stubs and stuff I'm gathering up from like, because each job that you get, is have you ever been an extra? Oh my god, hi Eric, River Knight. I have not been an extra, and I don't ever want to be one either. I don't ever want to be an extra. The stuff we put extras through is just like too much. It's just too much for little pay. There's no way. I love directing background though. That's really really fun, but there's no way. There's no way. Did I travel? No, Wesley, Taylor, I did not travel with them. I kind of was there on the New Jersey shoot. So like, but the Spinning Gold set that I was saying how they were in Canada and then they were in LA, like we're talking a span of like 13 years where they started shooting in Canada and then they like something happened as far as the unions were concerned and they kicked them out of Canada or something. This is like through the grapevine. This is like the rumor of this movie. And you probably will, if you look up Spinning Gold on Google, all these articles will come up about like what's been happening. And no, so I did not travel with them because like 10 years ago they were trying to do it in Canada, 3 years ago they were trying to do it in LA, and then they came to New Jersey and New York to like try and finish the movie. Okay, let's see. This is more of my pay stub. So every job, would you ever produce a movie? Oh yeah, hi Zoe. I think if you've watched my channel before, I've talked about how like I love being an AD. I don't care really about producing. I don't really want to direct either. I feel like producing is just, I like being on set, and when you're a producer, you're not really on set as much, and you're not really kind of like, I guess I'm a control freak, and I like kind of being in the know, and I kind of like knowing the flow and being in it with all the crew and stuff. So like producing is I feel like you're on a different level, man. I have no desire to produce, but I have the ability to. I've done it before, but I don't, it's nothing I really aspire to do, which is kind of like crazy because people are like, yo, that's mad money. Eric, let's see, are you there during green screen shoot? Oh yeah, I have a picture. Let me find this picture first of all. I thought I had a green screen picture. I thought I did. I don't know, all these photos didn't like save. I swear I had a green screen picture of Spinning Gold, but I guess not. I don't know. Yeah, so like green screen, there was a ton of green screen. So the you're talking about Spinning Gold, right, Eric? So this right here. Um, we shot one way, like we were shooting the artists doing their stuff on stage, and then every now and then we had to go behind the artist, and then like when we did that facing outwards to the crowd, which would be like an empty warehouse in real life, it was nothing but a giant, it was like a circulated like green screen, and we would shoot that. So yeah, I was there during green screen shooting. It was like a lot of green screen. Let's see. Okay, so this is more of my DJA book. This is like an ongoing thing. And here's the thing, I have sporadic DGA photos because I wanted to document this for a video I'm going to make about making your Directors Guild of America book submission. And I basically was trying, like, I was shooting stuff, like I was on movies, I was on TV shows, I was working, so like putting your book together takes hours and days. Like I would sit there for like 3-4 hours, any type of like chunk of time that I had, I was like, okay, it's time to organize this, or it's time to like highlight my name on all the call sheets. And then we're talking like 600-700 things that you have to put together, more than that, because then you have pay stubs and you have like deal memos and you have to like look for the stuff, make sure you saved everything. So I was in this process of like trying to find pockets of time, like on the weekend when I was like extremely tired, or like if I had a random holiday off, I would take like 5 or 6 hours and I would like put my book together. So like these are all the divider tabs you need. It's just very, very, very tedious. And yeah, so in what was it, July, I think July. Yeah, my niece came to New York, New Jersey, so we went to friends. That's my niece Cheyenne, and I went to the Harry Potter. Eric, let's see. Do you have a headset device while on set for incoming communication? So it depends, but my first answer is yes, because I'm always wearing a surveillance. So I am on walkie with everybody. I'm a surveillance. I can show you my surveillance actually. Let me take it out of my bag. Hold on. So this is my little special one. I have like special doodads on it. I can actually show you like a fresh one that I buy my trainees. Wait, here we go. So this is like my ear thing. Like I got the wire from Walkie Woogie. I think it's like walkiewoogie.com. And then I have this in my ear. This is like, and this is for Walkies. They're the Motorola's, the 200 CP200 Motorola walkies that most of the time are being used on set. So, and it's kind of funny. I should probably pull up a picture that I just got the other day. Maybe I can find it. Let me see. I can probably find it. Like when you're on movie sets, you're usually on a surveillance and you're on walkie. But like commercial stuff, you are on your surveillance on the walkie talking to your team, but you're also on these comms, which is like another headset where you're like on comms with the director and you're talking to the director, DP, and the camera team, which that was my last gig that I just finished with Beachbody. And it's, I only have 2 ears and I had 2 streams of audio, and then like people come up to talk to me. It's very, very challenging. Oh yeah, so this is me to look drinking that ginger beer at the Harry Potter flagship store, and I loved it so much. Oh my god. I was really surprised how good it tastes. That like butterscotch beer. Oh my god, it was so good. So then I went to Atlanta, and this is one of our main sets in Atlanta. We were at the house. So here's the funny thing. It was a movie called Jerry and Marge Go Large. It was with Bryan Cranston and Annette Bening, right? And the movie, the script is a real story. It's a real story about a couple who figure out how to kind of take advantage of the lottery system, and they have to bet so much money, and then they find out that if they bet so much money, they will double their money, or sometimes even more than double their money, and they end up in the end like making about $27 million off like the Boston lottery system, and I think it was set in Boston, and it was also set in Michigan. So they would travel to Boston. It was called like Roll Down. It was like a lottery roll down back in I think the early 90s, I believe. So we shot the movie all in Atlanta. Now this is a movie that takes place in Boston and Michigan, but we're shot in Atlanta. Now when you look at this house in true Atlanta fashion, it is a wraparound porch. And every time I looked at this goddamn house, I was like, who in their right mind was like, let's shoot this in Atlanta and let's shoot it in a very typical southern looking house? But that is on the ladder our set dresser. He was amazing. I loved him. He was one of the best attitudes on set, like 100%. let's see, yeah, there's Bryan Cranston. He's on the swing of the porch. And I believe, what was that actor's, the child's actor name? Man, she was something else. I will not say negative or positive, but I will just say she was something else. Like, she definitely is going to be an actor when she grows up, for sure. Like, she's acting now, but she's going to be a definite actor when she grows up. Oh my God. This is me. I went to Atlanta's Braves game when I was in Atlanta, and I was so happy to be there. I was like, first of all, look at my hair, my bangs. Like, that humidity is like no joke in Atlanta. It was so damn hot in Atlanta. I can't even describe the humidity that you will experience if you're coming from New York and you're going down to Atlanta. And we were shooting a movie in July and August, and I could not even believe I even did that. I'm looking back and I'm like, wow, we shot a movie in the summer in Atlanta. I just couldn't. God, we were sweating the amount of water I was drinking. Oh my God, it was crazy. Atlanta. Oh my God. I had so much fun at this game. I had so much fun. I loved being at this baseball game. I loved it. I love baseball. Oh my God. So this was another place that we shot. It was the motel that they would stay at. Is the travel costs covered by the studio, or do you arrive on your own, from Eric? So for this movie specifically, I was asked to join this movie. The first AD was like, you want to work with me in Atlanta? I was like, sure. And then I was like, by the way, I will not work for minimum wage. So I told her, I was like, I'm happy to work with you, but I need the same pay that I make in New York. So they wanted to hire me as a local. So my travel was not covered, but I drove down, so it didn't really cost me much to stay there or to actually get there. But on the other hand, it was like I had to pay for my accommodation. So me and two other PAs shared an Airbnb, and we ended up paying like $1,000 for 6 weeks there each. So it was $3,000 for 6 weeks in this Airbnb, which when you think about it is not that bad, but also it's $1,000 that I didn't really want to pay. So I had to pay for my own accommodation. I did not get per diems, but I was offered a job in Atlanta, and I was like, I want to work with this, this first AD again, try to form a relationship, maybe future work. Also, I've never worked in Atlanta. I wanted to see how sets are run down there and how like the crew is and stuff like that. So I had a lot of benefits. I was the most paid PA because I was like, I fought for my wage because I was like, I'm not going to be working at like $10, $12 an hour. There's no way I can survive like paying my rent back home while also paying for Airbnb down in Atlanta at the same time. But by the grace of God, one of the producers found out that we all paid for an Airbnb to be down there because the three of us, two of us came from New York, and, Willie, who was the other PA who stayed with me, he came up to me and asked me how much everything was because I was the one that organized it, and I just like made them pay their share. And I told them, I was like, oh, it was like $3,000 something and like $98 or something like that. So like she Venmo'd us all the money and like paid for our accommodation. So luckily, like we didn't get per diem, but we were able to kind of like cover the costs just because the producer was like, she liked us and was like, you shouldn't have to pay for your accommodation here. So it all kind of evened out in the end and they didn't have to do that. Like that was very, very generous of them, because I agreed to work as a local. So, yeah, this motel set, oh my God, can I please, I don't even know if I should be telling anybody this, but that motel, I didn't want to touch anything. It was sketchy as shit. Like, it was a very interesting place, but like also rumors of bed bugs and stuff. And like you would just like go by the prop cart and they had like gallons, like big, like giant gallons of like bed bug pesticide. Like it was crazy. Ugh, I can't even. And they had to like lay in this bed. It was God, horrifying, absolutely horrifying. Oh my God. And this was another set that we shot at a lot. Yeah, so the motel was one that we shot at a lot. We did a lot of days there. And we did a lot of days at this gas station. This gas station was the worst location I probably ever had to shoot at because there was like no place to put anything because we had so many wide shots. It was absolutely crazy. It was like we had so many wide shots and we had no place to put the gear. It was crazy. It's crazy that you're the one who has to mention the cost to fix it. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I didn't mention it first. It was that, like, it kind of like through the grapevine, someone found out that we had an Airbnb. We didn't like really like, it wasn't something that we were like, hey, you know, like, and then they offered. So it wasn't something that we really like, you know, but you're totally right. It's a shame that they were like, us poor PAs. They're like, oh, pity you poor PAs. We're gonna make sure you have some money in your pocket. Yeah, but this gas station set was so like, there was, so you see like the ground and like the parking lot area of it, like the lot area of it, but then beyond that, like beyond the building was nothing but mud, and there was like a stream behind, so it was like there were snakes back there. It was nothing but mud, and like it was pretty much like gross. It was so gross. God bless the locations department on this shoot. Honestly, God bless them. Seriously, because I can't even imagine trying to get a location like this ready for us to shoot in, because apparently like that wasn't really an active gas station. It's just like this dead gas station that like they used. And then finally, oh my god, the cast, the cast was not happy. They were so like very, very uncomfortable. They did not like where we put them. They basically held cast in like this like, I guess, like, I don't want to call it a shack, but it kind of was a shack. And I remember the locations guy, Sam, he was like, well, you know, Meryl Streep stayed here one time. And I was like, so yeah, Bryan Cranston and Annette Bening did not like it at all. This is me with Taisha and, oh my God, why am I blanking on her name? Oh my God. Stephanie Franklin. Oh my God, Stephanie. Yeah, so Stephanie is from South Carolina, and Taisha being from Tennessee. Like, I got a lot of Beyond Film School people on this movie, and I'm so happy about it. So, Zoe, what are your thoughts on people in the industry coming out in protest of long hours and holidays missed? Yo, I am full on with those people, Zoe, because, I mean, I like to have a life. I know I feel like I'm turning, I guess, not turning into, but I guess I do like to work a lot, and I'm super productive, and I like to stay busy, and I like being on stuff. But I full on believe in a work balance and a life work balance, and being able to have a life and also work. So I feel like we can definitely do 10-hour days. Like, it's totally like feasible. It's achievable. And I just got off a project, this commercial project I did. Like, we did, I believe I started my days at like 7:30, which I walked in the door at like 7:45, and I left around like 3:45, 4 o'clock, and was home by 4:30. And then I would finish a PR for like 20 more minutes, and I was done. So like, that to me was like an 8 to 10 hour day, totally achievable. So there's like no reason why we can't do 10-hour days. And that 10-hour days is still a lot. Like, but if we were able to get a 14-hour turnaround instead of a 12-hour turnaround or a 10-hour turnaround, it just makes a difference. And when I got home, I'd be like, you know, I'd work on other stuff. I'd read a little bit. I'd like, you know, I don't know, eat dinner or play with my dogs or whatever. And I felt like I had a life. So like, I am in like, I definitely am with the people who are like, you know, fuck these long hours, because that's how I feel too. I need some light. So let's see, Eric. So travel light to avoid standing with heavy weights. Yes. Do you ever get tired standing all day while you wait for the scene to finish? So here's the thing. It depends on the position I'm in. Let me just get off this picture, because I don't want to see my face anymore. So do I ever get tired of standing all day while you wait for a scene to finish? So here's the thing about that. I feel like it depends on my position, because as a key PA, which I was, that's what my position was down there, I am focusing on so many different things. I am worried about the sound. I'm worried about my PAs locking it up. I'm worried about the visual lockups, making sure no one breaks their lockups. I'm making sure Transpo doesn't break a lockup. You know, is an actor landing, or I'm thinking about so many different things while the camera's rolling, that like standing there waiting for the scene to finish is not exactly like what I do. You know, I'm like anticipating the next thing, and or if I'm making sure that nothing ruins the scene. So like, my mind is going like fucking a mile a minute when the scene is going, and like waiting for it to finish. The only time when I get kind of bored, I guess, is when they're doing like 2 people in a room in an apartment building, and I'm outside waiting. And in that instance, I'm organizing. Like, maybe I'm booking PAs, or maybe I'm, trying to see who's available for the big week we have, or maybe I'm giving my PAs breaks or something. So like, there's always something to do to fill the time when you're like trying to like wait for a scene to finish. But also like, if it is that time where you have a long scene, or maybe it's, it's just kind of like, you're not really in the mix like everyone else is, you can, have a minute to yourself, go to the bathroom, because that's very hard to do when you're working in production, or like go to Crafty, get some water, refuel, like, have a moment to be like, breathe for a second. So those moments where you're like waiting for a scene to finish, sometimes are like a blessing, like an honest blessing. Okay, so moving on. Let's see here. So this is, oh God, I would go for run. So when I was in Atlanta, I worked 6-day weeks. I worked French hours, but they weren't French hours, which French hours are like, oh, you're promised a 10-hour day, but you're not going to break for lunch, right? And it's supposed to be a short day and not breaking, but like for the AD department to not break, it's like it's the wear and tear in your body is rough. It is rough. But then we never stuck to 10-hour days, so we ended up doing like 12, 13-hour days with no lunch break. I was like tired, so tired at the end of the day. And what I would do on my Sundays is I was trying to like jam pack all these Atlanta things so I could actually see the city I was visiting while I was working there. And like I went to Stone Mountain, which this picture is Stone Mountain, and this is where that mural of like all these Confederate soldiers are, and I purposely cut it out because I thought that the area was so beautiful, and it was like, it's like a 5-mile run around the mountain, which was like really, really great. It was beautiful, but then it's like ruined by this like Confederate like mural thing, carving statue thing that's like on this mountain. It's kind of like, what the hell? But it was a very, very nice area. So I just remember that like that run was like very, very great. Ruined by Confederacy etching. But like, yeah, stone etching, I guess it would be, because it's like carved into the damn mountain. I see. Now this was like one of the last days. I think this was the last day. This is the last day of shooting of Jerry and Marge, and we had to make it rain. Like literally make it rain. I feel like really funny saying we had to make it rain. Yeah, so I had never been on a set where they had to actually make it rain, and that was really, really cool that they brought all the things out. I got to actually see how, special effects actually makes it happen. And it's like there's giant cranes, there's giant hoses, and it's kind of awesome. It was really, really awesome. Okay, so back to Zoe. I know that celebrities will sometimes cater amazing food when on set. Do they just cater for their castmates, or is it the entire set? So I guess two things for that. So for example, if the catering that's chosen for a production isn't that great, people tend not to go to that catering, even if the production doesn't choose to change the catering, because people don't eat there, but there's always going to be, they have to have an option for people to, eat, right? So what ends up happening is that like the celebrities or the cast will order like just they'll order out their lunch from wherever, and they'll bring it in. There's also like food trucks they bring in for us as treats, as like, oh, end the episode, or this was a tough week, or maybe we have an overnight or whatever, and they bring in like a food truck of like empanadas, or like they bring a coffee truck in because it's an overnight, or so they'll treat the entire cast and crew to that. And I remember one time on the Equalizer, Queen Latifah was like, we weren't able to really do like food truck things, like food truck treats. So she bought like, I think it was like 100 personal pizzas, all different types of pizzas, and like everyone had their own little personal pizza. So everyone did, so it was like, because of COVID, we weren't able to like really like serve pizza, but if everyone had their own box, it was like COVID safe. So I remember she wanted to treat everyone to, pizza, but everyone got their own little personal pizza. So that was like a gift from like the producer and Queen Latifah. And yeah, so I think Brian actually, I remember one time he invited us all out to the bar. When actually this set, there was like, if you can't really see it, but like off to the right, there's like this small bar down the road. Like it's right next door to where that yellow lift is. And it was like this Mexican restaurant. And he basically invited everyone to that restaurant and like made margaritas for everybody, which is really awesome. Like, and I didn't get to have said margaritas by Brian, but I did get one of them because I was like wrapping out and I had to like wrap out the trucks, and I eventually got there at like the end of this gathering, but like he was like serving people drinks and stuff like that. I guess he has his own tequila company. He was like treating everyone to like this lovely margarita party. So like sometimes celebrities do really like, they try and do something special for the cast and crew, and they don't just keep their treats for themselves. Okay, so what time is it where you? Oh, where I am, it's about 4:38. In New York. So, but it gets really really dark really quickly. So it probably looks like it's midnight. So, oh yeah, so it's like 10. So it's either way, it's like dark. But yeah, right where I am in New York, it's like only 4:40. Okay, let's see. That is me on my next job. So I ended Jerry and Marge Go Large. My face, sorry. I ended Jerry and Marge Go Large at the beginning of September, and then right away I drove the weekend back up to New York, and then I took a job in Newburgh, and I worked on my first Hallmark movie, and it was a Christmas movie, and it was supposed to be 3 weeks, but I quit after 2 because I was like, fuck this shit. Because that job, I was the paperwork PA and I was running first team, so I worked a good 18-hour day, like 18 hours a day every day. And the last straw for me was when like some producer accounting lady, she like called me on a Sunday night when I was like driving in back to the hotel, because they kept us in hotels because it was shot in Newburgh and it was like an hour away from my house. So they put us up, and like on the way, like this accounting lady was like, is this Amber? Do you have time cards for me? Because I was a paperwork PA. I was the one who submitted all of everyone's time cards and their paperwork to get paid. So she was like trying to do the time cards, but it was like 8 p.m. on a Sunday night. Like literally, what are you doing looking for paperwork on a Sunday night? Like, why are you calling me like all aggressive and shit? So I told my AD, I was like, yeah, I'm quitting this job. I'm sorry, I don't want to do it anymore. And that was the first job that I ever quit. So I feel like that is a super accomplishment. It's like, because like if you feel like this isn't for you, or like you don't have to put up with this, or you're feeling I guess maybe abused or used or taken advantage of, like you can say no. You can like, I think the most powerful thing for everyone to remember when you're like taking jobs and you're like worried about your next job. First of all, don't worry about your next job. And if you're good enough, someone's going to reach out to you and you're going to get hired. Always be willing to walk away, because it's so powerful to be like, I don't fucking need this job. And I took that job, the Hallmark movie job, as a favor for an AD because I couldn't find anybody else. And there were so many things wrong with that movie. They were trying to make a Hallmark movie way under budget. It was supposed to be under $5 million, and they were like bragging about how cheaply they can make this movie. And there were some big stars of it, like Peter Gallagher and like Bruce Campbell. If you guys know, like Bruce Campbell is probably like the most famous name that you probably know, but like he was super professional, super nice. All the cast members were like great. They were all amazing. And they were just like trying to take advantage of the actors and like make me lie and put different times on the Exhibit G because they're SAG, their actor union. And it was just, I hate lying. First of all, I do not like lying. Second of all, I don't want to work 18 hours a day every day. And third, like I kind of worked with nothing but guys. Like the entire AD team was nothing but dudes. And I think not that there's anything wrong with guys, but the way they spoke around me, it was like, oh, well, don't say anything around Amber because, oh, we're about to say some inappropriate shit about a woman or something like that. And they'd be like, oh, and then I would call them out. I would definitely call them out. I'd be like, yo, like, you should not be saying that, whatever. And because I don't have any problem with saying anything if it makes me feel uncomfortable, like, or maybe that's like kind of fucked up to say. I'll be like, yo, that's like fucked up, whatever. And they're like, oh, well, ooh. So, and also like, I just felt like not working with my second AD anymore. I just did not like how it was like, oh, I'm from the indie world, so this is what we do in the indie world. I'm like, no, but we're working on a union set right now. Like, I don't agree with what you're saying. I don't want to lie. And I definitely was the person I would tell, because here's the thing is that like production will totally take advantage of actors all the time. And I hate this. I hate this so much. And I tell my actors, I will be like, you should not be in the car tomorrow until this time. And this is your turnaround. You are portal to portal, which means door to door. So they get 12 hours from the time they reach their house. And then they get 12 hours after that 12 hours, and then they can return to set. So I would always tell, and then like, because the lead actress did not have any idea what her turnaround time was, what that all meant. And I told her, I was like, you should not be in a car earlier than this. So if so-and-so tells you that the pickup time is this, it is wrong. And it would be funny because she would never say that she was saying this, but the next morning the second AD would be like, I don't know why she's giving me so much shit about her pickup times, not knowing that I was telling her that she should not be picked up during that time, because they were trying to take advantage of her and like work her like a dog. And I thought that was really wrong. So whatever. I'm just saying, like, don't take advantage of people, because I mean, and this is probably why I did not get into the DGA training program, because they were like, are you an advocate for justice? Yes, I am, because when people are treating you wrong, someone should say something, or you should say something. You know what I mean? Like, something, whatever. Okay, so Eric, you're switching jobs or switching studios. Aren't you signed by a studio? Is your career unstable? So here's the thing about so I am freelance, right? And when I'm talking about like going from movie to movie, that technically means that I'm moving from like for example, The Equalizer was NBC, and then I went to Spinning Gold. That was an indie film, but it was a major, so it was more than 15 million, so that was like still a union gig. After Spinning Gold, I went to During March, which is also union. So that was Paramount Plus, and then I went from Paramount Plus to Hallmark. So I'm not technically hired as an employee by all these studios, because like, you know, they change this all the time. When the project's done, you're done. Like when I worked for NBC, technically I was an employee of NBC or Universal or whatever. But once that job is done, like that job is done. So I'm not guaranteed a job for next season, which I was asked to work the next season, and I told them no. I interviewed, they had a new AD team, and they wanted me to be the key PA in The Equalizer, and I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do this. I don't want a 9-month gig, and I wanted to do more movies, not TV. So yes, I guess the simple answer is yes, my career is unstable, but also I'm highly sought after, because there's always someone wanting to hire me for something else. Like for example, in November and December, I had multiple offers, and I took the best one, which is a really, really great spot to be in, which if you're just starting out, like that'll be the spot you're going to get into. So like, just as long, if you're good at your job, there are going to be people who want to hire you no matter what. So it's like, is it unstable? But also like, for example, like I'm done working for the year. It's December 19th. I'm done working for the year. Like I made enough money where I can coast for a couple weeks. And then when January comes, I might have something already in line, because something was supposed to shoot in December, but then I got offered something and they were like, oh, we're going to move to January. I'm like, perfect. I'm not doing anything in January. So it is unstable, but my work is consistent. And it's kind of great how it's unstable, because like if I want time off, or if I want to go on an extra vacation, or if I want an extra week or so here or there, then I take the time off. I don't have to say yes to a gig. So for example, we wrapped The Equalizer in mid-May. I took about a week, and then I think about 4 days after I wrapped, I was asked to do Spinning Gold, and that gave me a whole week off, which is like a week off in between gigs was great. It was great. So is it unstable? Yes, it's kind of unstable, but also like if you're great, and there's a ton of work right now. There's so much work. I will say this. There's so much freaking work in New York. There's so much work in LA. There's so much work in Atlanta. There's so much work in Europe. There's so much work in Canada. There's so much work because there's such an oversaturation of content that is being made right now. It is kind of crazy. So let me get off my face for a second. So yeah, there's so much being made that like people can't hire like enough people. Like I can't staff my PAs enough. I can't train enough PAs, because the thing is like I started Beyond Film School, the training program, to make sure that I had people to staff my gigs. But also they're so great that they're being friggin' hired out by other people, and they can't come onto my gigs, which is like, what? Like, it's great. They're being successful and they're like killing it, and I'm proud of all of my trainees. I'm so proud of them, but also it's like I'm kind of selfish because I'm like, can you work with me? Can you please work with me? So yeah, there's just so much friggin' work out there that there's like always a shortage of like, I need PAs, they need grips, they need electric, they just have so many things to fill. It's crazy right now. It's like like Paramount Plus and Disney Plus and, you know, Netflix, Hulu, you have Amazon, you have like all the broadcast channels like HBO, Hallmark, Stars, Showtime, you have all those, and not to mention all the movies that they're being made. You know, it's just, there's so much happening right now. What do you prefer, TV or movie production? I like movies. And I did a string of TV shows. I did, let's see, I did like a string of TV shows like back to back. I was on Enemy Within for NBC, and then I did like a quick pilot, and then that never went through. And then I did another season of TV, which was New Amsterdam, and then I went from New Amsterdam. What did I do after New Amsterdam? I can pull up my DGA book and show you, but then after that I did another TV show, and then I think it was, oh yeah, so yeah, New Amsterdam. This is why it's always like a blank, because whenever I get to the time period of the pandemic, I'm like, I can't think of what I did because I didn't do anything for 7 months. So I did a movie after the pandemic. I did a movie up in Rochester, and then I did The Equalizer. So I did a movie, then TV, and then I went from TV to movie. So I like movies because they're shorter and I can expand my network quicker because I guess, yeah, I can expand my network quicker, meaning I get to work with more ADs and more people in the industry, which each project I move from like month to month. But with TV, I can build deeper relationships because I'm working with them for like 9 months, or I'm working with them for 7, 8, 9, 10 months. So it depends, but I do like, I don't mind the stability of TV, but it gets too long where I get bored after like 6 months. I'm like, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to do something different because we get into this like flow of like, okay, we're in the hospital again. We're in the you know, it's just like New Amsterdam being a medical show. I was just like, okay, I'm just bored. I'm bored. This job is too easy now. You know, I'm just bored. So yeah, I kind of like movies because it keeps me like new crew, new things, new, you know, everything. I keep learning more and more with movies. So I prefer movies. So yeah, this picture right here is them making snow because it is September, but they're making obviously a Christmas movie. And at this time, Hallmark is like doing, I think they have this thing where it's like 25 Days of Christmas, and it's like a new movie like every day in December or something like that. So I felt so bad for the actors because they're making this Christmas movie, and we're making fake snow, and they're like wearing winter clothes and they're sweating, and like it's just so, because it's on you know, it was not appropriate September weather. It was like, you know, summer weather, and they're like sweating in these winter clothes. I felt so bad for them. Oh my god. Oh yeah, and I went to my first. Okay, Zoe, do you think people from big film schools like USC, UCLA have an easier time getting into the industry and building relationships with important people? And I'm shaking my head no, because I get this question all the time. It is not easier for them, because here's the thing: is they have to make the most. Oh, thanks for your question, Zoe. By the way, I love this question because I just love attacking this question so fiercely. Let me get off City Field for a minute, like, because I know I went to a Mets game and I loved it. So here's the thing about those big film schools. Like, you spend a lot of money thinking that you are going to just get, like, this lovely get into film industry card free, which is, like, the opposite of, like, get out of jail card free, get out of jail free card. But, like, I think that the expectation when you go to NYU and you go to USC is that you want the leg up, right? You want the leg up. Like, yes, there are benefits to going to film school. Like, yes, I went to this prestigious film school. You can say that. Or then you can, you know, you're taught to, I'm hoping, because I know that when you're making your thesis film, you have to raise like $50,000 and you have to pay people. And it's like a real thing that you're supposed to be doing and making. And that can fail, right? But when you get out of film school, you don't have, I guess, the right networking opportunities that you should have coming out of film school. Because I'm always like, you have to talk to people. And sometimes the important people are not around at those film schools. Like, I would say any film school, not even just the top film schools. Like, for example, I don't consider myself going to film school because I went to an undergrad college, and I went to Buff State in Buffalo, and it was a production degree. I got like media production. I did learn some things, but it was not like a your typical film school where all I learned was like film shit. So but I formed relationships with my professors, and I talked to as many people as I could. I got on as many indie things as I could, and that's what gets you into the industry. Like, going to these film schools is not going to get you into the film industry. You're going to have just a tough time. Like, the big names on your resume could help a little bit depending on like who you're talking to, but they don't have it easier. They definitely don't have it easier. Everyone is like, once anyone graduates from college and they're trying to get into the film industry, it is hard just for me, maybe who doesn't have that fancy degree, as just as it would be for students from NYU and stuff. So that's my answer. And I get this all the time where like I get a bunch of people who are like graduating from Columbia or NYU or USC or Full Sail, for example, Full Sail being down in Florida. They'll like email me and reach out to me like, hey, I just graduated. What do I do next? I'm like totally dumbfounded at the fact that they have not give them the tools. They have not given them the tools as graduates of that school to be like, this is what you do to get into the film industry. This is what you do to be a success. This is how you break in. They don't teach them how to do that. And it's so sad. I feel like it's just like, if anything, like, tell them how to do a proper resume, not this corporate bullshit that they sell. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself as far as resume is concerned because I did my resume workshop, but I'm just like, I'm so dumbfounded at who reaches out to me, and I'm like, I thought that NYU would do that. I thought that USC would do those things, but it definitely is not any easier. Does anyone verify your references on your CV? Okay, so here's the thing. I'm really glad you guys are asking about this stuff. This is kind of cool because, so a film resume should not have references on your, like, on the page of your resume. Your references are going to be the ADs that you work for or your bosses or your immediate supervisor. Like, if you work in props or maybe you were a camera assistant, your camera department head would be on your resume. So it's not like your references. And I love this portion of my workshop because I tell them, you have to put your key PA if you're additional PA. You have to put your assistant directors on there, because what happens is if you're going to apply for a set PA gig, what they do is they look for that familiar name. They may not know everyone on your resume, but they're going to look for that name and they're going to like get the scoop on you. So your references, like you wouldn't have traditional references like you're asking, but people do reach out, and you may not know it though. You may not know it, but it's happening, if that makes sense. So yeah, like there's a whole thing I go through with my resume workshop about like references and like who you should be putting on there as far as like supervisor is concerned, but they get reached out to, I would say. Okay, I went to a Mets game in September. I loved it. It wasn't as exciting as my Braves game, but what can you do? And I feel like, oh yeah, every time I go to, this is my own weird thing, but every time I go to a baseball game, I get a black on black hat. And the Mets did not have a proper black on black hat, and I was kind of upset about this. So I settled for my, this logo. Because, like, let's see. And then, like, I have my Boston one. Black on black. I love this little thing in the back. I love this one because it's a fitted one, and I don't really have any fitted hats, so I'm very happy about my Boston one. And let's see. My Atlanta one is in my car because I wear it all the time. But yeah, my Atlanta one is also black on black. Okay. This is what my DJ books look like, because now we're into October. And this was the completion of my books, and I'm about to submit them. So this was like a big moment for me because those books took fucking forever to put together. And then I started my my gig in Connecticut. I did a movie for Disney Plus. This is me on the Tech Scout. That is the gaffer right next to me. And there's a whole bunch of other important people in the back there. And then the second AD is the one who's writing with the sunglasses on. So it was funny because me and a friend of mine who's also in film, her name is Paula, she takes pictures like that all the time. And she had a picture of her and her second AD she was tech scouting at the exact same time that I was tech scouting. So we had like matching photos for each other. It was great. And then I went to Boston. I went to Boston in Salem the first week in October. So it was really fun. I went with my niece. I took her for her 18th birthday. Went to Salem. Oh, this is great. So there was like I don't know if anyone's been to Boston. If you've been to Boston, please tell me. But there was this, across the street, there's like, I think the Commons is from the Salem Witch. Are you on? Okay, so I drink, Eric, don't make fun of me. Okay, don't make fun. I got this glass. It's a mason jar. Sorry, I guess that's like totally I don't know. This is very cliche, I guess, because I drink from a mason jar because I drink so much water, and I hate the fact that I have to refill it all the time. So this is like 24 ounces, so I fill this up like 6 times a day. So I'm just trying to get the most of my water consumption with this glass because it is a lot of water in one go. But I mean, I'm not on that budget. I have a mug too. I'm drinking coffee at the same time. But my little skull here, this picture, there was, okay, so there's like all these vendors and stuff like that around Halloween time, which is really great. I recommend going to Salem during the weekends of October. Go to Salem, Massachusetts. It's amazing. It's so fun. And across the street from the Salem Witch Museum, the Salem Witch Trials Museum, across the street, there's a Commons. They have all their vendors there. And there was like this little free game where like, it looked like, I wish I had a picture. It looked like, I don't know if you guys know, gosh, what is that? Price is Right. The Price is Right. And then it's like the little peg game, and it like goes down to like the little pegs, and you have to get it into a certain thing to win. So my niece did it and she lost. I did it and I won, and you won a little skull. And I was very, very happy, very, very happy about it. And I have that skull. It's in my jacket. It's like my little good luck skull because I knew I was going to win. I put it in there and I was like, I'm going to win this shit. And I won. There's the witch house. And this is my witch hat. I love this hat. That's a modern witch hat, so I'm ready for next October. Just saying. I love it. It looks like my eyeballs look like totally dilated, probably because it's dark outside and that's why, but it looks like I'm on drugs. I'm sorry, guys. It really looks like I'm on some drugs, but I don't really do drugs, so. I also did a friend of mine, a producer friend of mine, which he's getting so much work and he hires me all the time, thank God. Oh, oh gosh. Okay, so Zoe's asking, do you journal to remember your days on set from different projects? No. Okay, so I guess I should revise this answer. I do journal because if you don't journal, I feel like mentally speaking, I would not be as calm, right? I feel like when I journal about things, I write at least 3 pages every time I journal to make sure I'm getting all the ideas out. And it's like, it for me is like a freeing thing, but I don't journal in the purpose of trying to remember different projects. But I see a picture and I just remember in a weird way. There are some things that I'll definitely forget, like people's names or what they did or whatever, but like I will remember a certain moment based on like that picture that I've seen. So like I don't do a journal just to like remember my set days. I don't know. I think I just remember a lot of projects. Like, I don't know. I just kind of like categorize like each job I've had. It's easy to remember in a weird way. I remember a lot of different things, but then I don't remember stupid things. So like, I can't remember what the hell I had for breakfast this morning, which my breakfast this morning was like a couple hours ago. I don't eat. Wait, I had a banana. I had a banana this morning, so yes, I do remember. But like, I don't remember weird things, but I can remember a lot of things. Like, I don't know how my brain works. Eric, do they change license plates on nearby cars in post or on set? So that's a really cool question. This depends on so for example, I wish I can pull up a picture, but it's going to be too complicated to get them up. So they will have specific picture cars and they will change the license plates of those cars that are like the background that came to purposely use their cars in the scene, and they will change those plates. Now, for example, sometimes what we fell into when we were shooting in Atlanta was like people were parked and we could not find the drivers to move their cars. So if we knew they were kind of staying there for a few hours during the scene work, they would put the plates on to make sure that it like didn't mess up and we don't have to fix it in post. So yeah, so sometimes it is mostly done on set. But if we can't touch the car, then we'll try to avoid it so we don't see it. But if we can't do it then it would be done in post, which sometimes I don't even catch, but whatever. So this picture right here is the podcast. Like I did one podcast episode with a friend of mine and a friend of his, and we had really, really good chemistry. And I think we did like an hour and a half podcast. We were gonna call it We Did It for the Residuals, but it's funny because she's an actor, he's a producer, and I'm an AD, and I'm like, I don't work for residuals, but whatever. I thought it was a funny title, and I was like, yeah, sure, whatever, we'll call it that. And we have not recorded another episode because we've all been like busy working, so we have not recorded it. And plus, he's so busy, like with so many things. He like called me the other day and was like, I have 4 projects in 2022 for you, and I'm like, great. But also, wow. Like, he is, like, I don't know how he's actually a stunt coordinator as well. So he's a producer, stunt coordinator. He's actually spoken at one of my set PA training courses. He's come to guest speak, and he's so great. I worked with him. The first time I worked with him was on a 6-day short film, and he was the stunt coordinator on that. And I was like, dude's amazing. And since then on, we've always worked together. So he's great. That's Scott, by the way. And I don't think I remember mention his name. Okay, so I also, in October was a busy month for me because I went to Boston and I went to Milwaukee. I went to Milwaukee for a couple days and I did road trips. So yeah, I drove to Atlanta. I did a road trip then, right? Stopped in Kentucky, got to Atlanta, and then like on the way up, when I got home, I stopped in Virginia, and I stopped in I believe Washington D.C. for a couple of hours to like eat and like just kind of like before I actually went home for the next few hours. And then in October, I road trip to Milwaukee with a friend of mine to go to her wedding. I actually missed the ceremony because my friend was like super late, but the ceremony was like 5 minutes long. And I was like, what the hell is that? But I very, very quick, but it was really awesome. Yeah, there she is. It's Mandy and my friend Leon. He is like one of my best friends. Leon is the best. I actually know her because oh god, this is real complicated. So when you're freelance in film, you kind of have to make sure you have like a backup plan in case that shit doesn't work out. So Eric, this adds to your comment about it being unstable, right? So like when I was still day playing as a PA, I was working as a barista, but then I love traveling, so I took a course to be gosh, oh my god, I can't remember like the title of it because I've done it in freaking so long, but it's like basically you're a like a tour guide or a tour director, right? And I would take student groups and we'd go to Washington D.C. for like a few days, and like I show them around, tell them the stories about the monument, and tell them stories about like certain things of the city and blah 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 blah. And I was doing that like on the side, so I would always take tours when it was like March, April, May, June-ish time, because during like May, June, I wasn't really getting a lot of work, and that May is like a good time when like TV shows start wrapping, and then when June rolls around, that's when movies start shooting. So like May and June are kind of like a good time to kind of like take those tours to kind of fill in some work. But I haven't done that since before the pandemic. I've just had consistent film work, so I haven't been a barista in like 2 years. I haven't done any tour directing in 2 years, so I've been very, very blessed, I feel like, since after the pandemic. But yeah, so Mandy was a co-graduate of the program that I went to, and like we did a couple tours together, and like we've been friends ever since. And like she's originally from Chicago, and like when I went to visit my one friend in Minnesota, I stopped in Chicago to like visit her, and we went to London together. It was like a whole thing. So she's like a travel buddy. I love having travel buddies. Okay, Eric, do you do security drills for longer, risky shoots? So we do safety meetings at the beginning of the day and at the beginning of a, I guess, riskier scene or a more dangerous thing that we might be shooting. So I wouldn't call them drills, but we definitely do cover things that are like, maybe it might be a fight choreography, might be a car chase that we're doing. It could be, a gun scene where like they're shooting each other or something. So we always go through all those things like very slowly with a safety meeting beforehand. That was my martini. I love this because she had a Halloween themed wedding, and I was the first person to get a Cosmo, and people were like, Amber, you're bougie with your Cosmo, but like Cosmos are like really, really good. So like I was like, girl, can you make a Cosmo? And she did, and like everyone started ordering Cosmos. So thank you very much, trendsetter. Okay, so then this is wow, yeah. So I was on that trip like in like right before the movie in Connecticut started shooting. I feel like I need more light. I'm gonna turn on this light. Here we go. So I'm not like a floating head, like my husband likes to say. So I love taking pictures like this, and we had a scene where there was a pool and he falls into the pool. It's a whole thing, but this little rig is like controlling the gimbal on the crane that you can't see. It's like off to the side, but I just love getting like behind the scenes of this type of stuff. And yes, of course, we had the whole incident with Rust, which if you take a look at my live stream of me watching the Alec Baldwin interview, like that shit was ridiculous. I didn't want to watch it, but I was like, let me watch this and get it over with. So do I get in trouble? A question from Zoe. Do I get in trouble for taking photos on set? It depends. So here's the thing. It's like, I do not take photos with cast because first of all, I'm not comfortable doing that. I know some first team PAs are and some ADs are, but I just don't. But for certain things, like for example, like this is just of gear, right? This is not revealing anything about the story. And the only time it really gets kind of, you can get in trouble for doing is if like I'm posting this on social media and I'm telling you like, oh my God, so-and-so is about to just do so-and-so, and I'm revealing a plot in the story. And movies like Marvel movies and like the Punisher and things that like, oh, for example, Power. When I used to work on Power, they were very, very strict about making sure that the plot points were not revealed or nothing in that episode were revealed because it would always take like a couple weeks before it got to air. So you were able to kind of post photos after it aired, but you are not, you cannot do it beforehand because you can get fired. You definitely can get fired. So like when I take photos on set, I take mostly of like crew and gear. I don't really do it when like they're going through the scene. Like, and I definitely have friends who are PAs who do that, where they'll have like an Instagram story of like the entire scene of like, I don't know, let's say Selena Gomez is like walking down the pier and like Steadicam's with her, and they'll like totally take a video of that happening, and I'm like, seeing that sort of stuff makes me nervous because I'm like, yo, she about to lose her job. So you can get in trouble for taking photos on set. It just depends on how strict the project is. And this is me during, so Eric's asking, does the Star Trek effect fade away after a few days? Oh, you're talking about being starstruck. Oh, I don't care about celebrities. I just don't care. I think like for me, I get nervous maybe a little bit, but then I realize, oh, they're human and they're like anybody else. So I don't after that. Like there are some cast members that make me feel a little uncomfortable because they're like a little bit more diva or demanding, or I get a little like, oh, what do they think of me type thing, a little insecurity, but not, not starstruck. I think the only time, I think when I worked on Jerry and Marge Go Large, when I met Rainn Wilson, I was like, oh my God, it's Rainn Wilson. And then I was like, oh God, it's Rainn Wilson. Like, he's not that fun to work with. Not to, after meeting him after a couple hours, I was like, okay, now it fades away. Like, if I am kind of like, oh my God, I'm working with so-and-so, it fades away really quickly when I find out they're like, not fun. I guess I'll just say not fun because I don't want to say anything worse than that. I'm not gonna like talk shit about certain cast members or whatever. But and for example, I was kind of nervous working with Queen because she can be very she definitely has a presence to her, and she has a I don't know what she's very, I can't describe it. She's like Queen. She's very, very warm and she cares, but she is very like, not aloof, but she's very like concerned about her work and like where she stands and making sure she's ready. And like, it's just like, it's not that she's in her own world. I can't find a word to describe it, but you just know that she's business and she's professional and she wants to do her best. So you don't want to mess that up. And that can be very intimidating. And she is kind of very intimidating. She's like 6 feet and she's like the original OG and shit. And you're like, I don't want to piss off Queen Latifah. And you definitely don't want to piss off Queen Latifah. I'm just saying. You don't want to make her an enemy. That's 100%. Like, and I am very, very grateful that we were able to form like a relationship working together, but it was, sometimes there were some tense moments and, I was able to like make her laugh, make it a little lighter, whatever, but I wouldn't say starstruck, but it's different, I guess, nervousness, but not like, I have seen some people totally fangirl out, like, and I'm just like, get it together, because you gotta work, like, you gotta get it together, like, you gotta work. Let's see, so this photo, when I was back in, gosh, where were we shooting? Oh yeah, we were shooting in Connecticut, and the World Series was happening. We broke for lunch, and we were on splits, so we had like lunch at like 9 p.m. or something. So I went to a bar that was down the road to watch some of the game, and it was a really, really good lunch. I love this photo. I sent this to an AD friend of mine. He's actually in doing a show in Albuquerque. This is our lovely grips. Okay, so the guy on the ground is the key grip. His name is Kurt, and the guy that's standing up, his name is Eric, and he is a dolly grip. And they're like setting the track, and I loved watching this every day, where they would get on the ground and make sure that the whole track was level and that the whole track was like in line, and they're like walking to like the other grips, making sure that it's straight. I just like, this shot is like total them in action. I love it. This is also a really, really good shot, because this is like, we had a lot of basketball players and like a lot of basketball stuff for this movie in Connecticut. And we're doing like an old basketball video. So he has to look like old school, like back in the 70s, like, and the makeup artist, or the hair artist, like hairstylist, like she was like maybe not even 5 feet. So the fact that she had to get on a chair to do the last looks, I was like, I have to capture this. And I took that photo and I made sure to send it to her, because I was like, she's gonna want this photo. And she was like, oh my god, thank you so much. So sometimes set photos, like, people want to see those, like, sometimes those ridiculous moments, or those, like, they have to go above and beyond, like capturing those moments and like sending it to that person. Like, and me and Allison, we had a really good relationship, but like we didn't have that type of relationship where like, oh, we're taking photos of each other on set. But I wanted to make sure she got that photo. And I have to say that my my sound buddies on the Connecticut movie, these are the hands of Damien and Antonio, and let me tell you, their sound people on set are like the most interesting, and I love hanging out with them. I swear to God, I feel like largely unappreciated when it comes to the AD department, and they get so much shit. Like, I mean, the ADs I've worked for, they definitely like give them so much, like, just, shit for, taking time to wire an actor, or taking time for adjustments, and making sure that, we got to the thing that's making noise. And I appreciate the sound department. So if anyone's working for sound, I appreciate you as sound people. And as an AD, I want to make sure that the sound department is definitely appreciated. This is a question from Zoe. Have you ever been on set shooting and thought, this isn't going to be a very good movie? Can I say that about like 90% of the things? Zoe, let me just say, I have worked on some really crappy things, and there's definitely a moment when I'm ADing like an indie feature, and I'm next to the director of photography, and we have that moment where we're like watching a scene happen, and we make eye contact, and we're just like, what are we making here? Like, but there's nothing you can do, because you've signed on for it, the script, and sometimes you'll have a good script, but then like when they're performing it and the director gets his hands on it or her hands on it, and like the vibe of it just goes the wrong way, and you're like, what are we doing? Like, a perfect example is an indie feature I did a couple years ago, and I felt like it was very discombobulated, because it was a very put together white lady, and apparently she had to have an alcohol problem, and she was a bad mother, but like when you saw her on screen she looked very put together. So it was like this miscast where it's like, and actors do this all the time where like an actor will be typecast for a reason, because me as a person, I don't know, Zoe and Eric, since I know that you guys are watching this, because I'm not really paying attention to how many people are actually watching this, like, what type of character would I play? I think that I would probably play, like, a judge, or, like, a person, or a person in, like, uniform, or, like, a cop, or something like that, because I have that kind of, like, that persona of, like, being, you know, strict and stuff like that, like, if you see me on set, you're like, oh, she's definitely gonna play, like, someone who's gonna be in charge, right? And I might be, if I were background, I would always be, put in a cop uniform or FBI uniform or something like that, right? So, like, certain people, when you see them, you're going to get a certain impression, a first impression, what you think they are, and what, like, vibe they're, like, emoting, you know? And that you can't get away from that. And that's why people are typecast all the time. It's, like, the first impression of, like, what you see them as without even them opening their mouth. So this actor that that she chose for this role was like, this is not someone I would put in that role, but she loved working with that actress and she thought it was a good role for her. And I don't even know. I think this movie is on Amazon. I think it is. I'm not sure. Wait, it did a couple of festival runs, but I'm pretty sure you can probably find it on Amazon. I'm not going to tell you the name of it. I'm not going to tell you the name of it because I'm not going to talk shit and then give you the name of it. Okay, school teacher. Okay, great. Okay, I say, okay, Wesley, you're saying a school teacher because I have my glasses on. But if I had my hair back and my glasses off, you're like, okay, cop. So it depends on what I'm gonna look like for the day. But yeah, I get school teacher or librarian a lot because I have my glasses on. Like I don't know why. I have no idea. But school teacher, okay, I'm with that. Oh my goodness. Yeah, sometimes like I think I've worked on. I'm trying to think of a movie that I worked on that would be good. I think Jerry and Marge is going to be a good movie. That's going to be really, like, when it comes out on Paramount Plus next year, I definitely would be like, watch that movie. It's going to be really sweet. I think it's going to be a good movie. Let's see. I've also had the opposite happen to me where, like, I've been, on a shoot and I'm like, this is going to be badass. Eric, is there a head count before and after a shoot? Eric, I don't know what you mean. A head count for what? Like, what do you mean? Like a head count before and after a shoot? What's the question behind the question? Because I don't understand what you mean. Let's see. This is more of the Connecticut movie. We were shooting a very intense scene in a car. There was an argument happening between mother and son, and the lighting, this direct sun was like, you can see the tiny red minivan in there. It's like, it's very, very tiny, but the door is open, and that's where we were shooting. And this giant crane to block the sun is what we needed to make sure it had the right lighting. Isn't that crazy? I think I'm always amazed at, like, when we have to get all this gear to make things happen. Oh, yes, and then, is this October? Wait, let me see, it's October. I think it is, no, it's November. Wait, yeah, November, now we're in November. So November was the first time I went back to a Broadway show after all the shutdowns and, like, the pandemic, and the last time I went to a Broadway show was in March of 2020, so it was, like, almost a whole year and a half, something like that. And I do this thing called Broadway Roulette. I recommend, because it takes the decision out of the whole what Broadway show you're going to see. You pay like $52 for a weekday show. You pick your time in the day, and you get you and your friends, and that morning you find out what you're going to see. It's like, you don't have to, go into reviews and find out, like, oh, what should I go see now? I just let them take care of it, and they just tell me where to go. And it's always, I don't know, I like it. I love Broadway Roulette. I don't think Broadway Roulette, I hope it doesn't go away, because I love just, like, them deciding what for me to see. Like, I love it. All right, so this is, oh gosh, this is one of the last days of shooting. Back to Eric's question. There's so many people working on set when you travel. If no one notices you're gone, you might as well take a day off. I guess I might have an offensive question. Eric, have you been on a set before? Because we're all there to work and we all have a job, and I feel like everyone is definitely important. And I, for one, know when my PAs are missing. I know when someone is missing because there's that moment where you think they may not need the camera scenic for the entire day, but then they ask for them and they need them right now. So it's not exactly a head count, but there are people in charge of each department, and if like, and that's like, and 6 to 10 people depending on the day. So, or maybe 3 to 10 people. It depends on what we're shooting and how, what department it is. Because a grip team might be like 8, whereas the props team might be 4 or 5. But I think that question is irrelevant when it comes to film because we're all there hired to do a specific job. Sorry. I'm kind of real serious about that question. I was like, no, you matter. This is happening on this scene right here. This picture is we're making fake snow, man. We're making some fake snow because, and it's funny because earlier that day it was snowing when we didn't need it to snow, and then when later on we needed to snow, it wouldn't snow, so we had to bring in like 9 special effects people to make it snow. My throat is going. Oh my god. Oh yes. So another thing that happened in November is I made fleeces. I made Beyond Film School fleeces and I love them. This is what mine says. The ones I got for my trainees say something different. But I may be making more fleeces with just the logo on them because some people are inquiring um, about like getting the fleece because I have printed shirts that you can get printed. Um, and then I have like these fleeces here are embroidery, so I'm like really I'm obsessed with them. So Eric, yeah, so if you've never been on a set, I will 100% guarantee once you're on a set for one day and see how things work, you're gonna be like, oh, okay, I get it now. Like you'll understand like what I'm saying when I say like, no, we're all there to work and we're all very important. So Zoe, how does the crew clean up fake snow? So I'll go back to, so the fake snow is a chemical concoction is the best word to put it, and it's apparently non-toxic, but they make bubbles. It's like it's sort of soapy, but it's not. But it's doesn't accumulate really. It kind of just dissipates, if that makes sense. So there's no like cleaning up of the fake snow. Sometimes when you see in certain movies, there'll be like piles of snow on the side. That's just ice, like literal just ice. It will be like ice shavings. So it'll just be water, or they'll melt it down. So cleaning up of like the fake snow is like really easy. Also, what I've seen is if it is too hot, like for example, when we did the Hallmark movie, the Christmas movie that we shot in September, they put down cotton to kind of make it look like it's piles of snow, and they make it look like, oh, it's sunny out, and like how like snow piles up and there's like a little bit of like, oh, it's starting to melt a little bit. So they have like cotton and they wet it, and then they put like some of that like saltish, it's like more granule type snow, but it's all like able to just kind of melt away except for the cotton, and then they just clear the cotton. So there's like a number of different ways they can do fake snow, but yeah, I swear to God, special effects people, like, I love what they do. It's always amazing. Okay, and that's Christmas. That's my tree. I made silver and black tree. I guess that's my year in review. I feel like I've missed some things, but I mean, I'm obsessed with black. Obviously, you guys know that. But yeah, please let me know if you guys have any questions about anything film related. I wish that the chat would like load, and it's not. I'm gonna do, let's see. Let's see. I'm going to do. I gotta figure out how to make this chat box work. It's kind of really annoying me that I can't make it work the way that I was told it should work. Maybe. Let's see if this will work. I'm determined. Yeah, so if you guys have any questions, like as far as like film careers go or resume stuff, whatever, I am here. This is the last, I feel like the last live stream I'm going to do for this year, probably. But I've been kind of doing this a lot lately because I'm like, I have these ideas in my head. I'm like, oh my God, I need to talk about certain things and like connect with viewers and blah, 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 blah. So like, feel free to ask anything you want to know about filmmaking. And Zoe and Eric, thank you so much for your questions. I loved all your questions. They were so good. All of them were like really, really good. Oh, my coffee is like so cold now. I'm gonna try and get this chat up. I'm gonna try because I watch Nick Nimmin about his YouTube stuff. I love it. His advice is like so good, and this is how he told me to do it. And I don't know if this will actually work. I don't know. It hasn't worked for me. I've done 3 of these, and I'm trying to figure out how to make this chat work, and it's kind of like it's really annoying me that I can't make it work. And I've seen it. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Okay. Do actors stay in trailers or hotels? Okay, so that's a really good question. Hold on, I'll get to that in 1 second. Let's see if I can. I don't know. It's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. I'm gonna just take all this out. Stand by. I'm definitely gonna get to that question. Do actors stay in trailers or hotels? So that's a good question because a lot of people are like, where are they staying? But actors stay in trailers, and I wish. Let me see. It's never gonna happen. I don't know. Let's see. Maybe this will work. Maybe? Probably not. I don't know. I'm gonna give up on this chat. Giving it up. Okay, so the question is, do actors stay in trailers or hotels? So it depends on what is needed. So most of the time it's going to be trailers, and then sometimes it is hotels. So, for example, and sometimes it's both. So they'll start at base camp at like in the trailers, and then when they go to set, so they stay on set, they'll have like hotel rooms in the building that we're shooting. So sometimes filmmaking, sometimes in TV and film, like they have hotel rooms like close by all the time. So it just depends on where they are. And Zoe's asking, how have I ever worked on a set in LA? I have. I remember I worked one set, and I believe it was called The Space Between. It was like in the desert. It was like one of my first union sets after transitioning from camera to the AD department, and I had like no idea what was happening. I was so lost in the sauce. But also to add to that, I've worked for LA ADs as well, so I am familiar with how an AD will run an LA set, and regardless of where they are, because like they'll take their habits and they'll bring it to wherever they're shooting. I'm kind of mad. I'm kind of mad that I cannot make this chat work. Oh my god, I'm just so mad about this. I'm so mad. Do I have anything else? Let's see. I don't think so. Oh yeah, these are my look at my merch. Some of it didn't go in order. I'm kind of makes me mad. If you guys want to be on Film School Mug, go to my website. How do PAs get into a union? Zoe, girl. Okay, let me just start by saying there is no PA union. There is one in Canada. They fall under the DGC, the Canadian Directors Guild. and there is no union for PAs. There's nothing protecting PAs, and it's been tried multiple times to get a union for the PAs, but IATSE did not want the PAs. I know the Teamsters 817 tried to, have the PAs join, but then IATSE kind of like ruled it out, and it gets kind of crazy when you talk about the PA union. So if there were a PA union, production would be very, very mad. I mean, people who like hire, like basically, it depends, but like the production is basically on the backs of PAs a lot of times. And I think about what I do on a union set as a PA, like wrangling first team, the actors, and making sure they're on set at time, making sure they know what's going on, make sure, I'm in charge of, the stunt people and their contracts and whatever. It's like unheard of, all the things that we're responsible for, or when you're a background runner and like getting 100 people ready on time, and when you're the walkie PA, being in charge of like gear that's expensive. Like the fact that there is no union for the PAs is crazy. It's been tried multiple times year after year, and it just fails because what happens is a PA doesn't stay a PA forever if they're worth anything. They'll either go to a different department, which means they'll get that union pay in a different department, like grips, props, electric, camera, or they become writer's assistants and they move up really fast. So, and then, if they're doing the AD track, then they get into the DGA, and it's like crazy money after that. They've struggled through like getting 150, 200, 210 a day, and then they finally become ADs and they're getting crazy money. So PAs don't tend to stay PAs for very long. So that's why it's just very hard to get a union together, because it takes a good few years to get a unit together, and you need someone to kind of organize that. And by the time you even get there, it's like, oh, well, I'm an AD now, so what do I care about, putting a PA unit together? So that's the answer on the PA union thing. If you have any more questions about that, like, please it's very complicated. Please definitely ask away. And Eric's question is it dangerous to shoot in the projects? I don't understand what you mean by that. What? I think if you're asking what I think you're asking, Eric, I hope you're not asking what I think you're asking. Is it dangerous? I don't know what you mean. What does that mean? Are you talking about shooting in like dangerous neighborhoods? Is that what you're talking about? Because I hope that's not what you're talking about. Zoe's question, where do you get your news about the industry? Any certain website? Oh, this is a good question. So there is a number of websites I go to for film news. And first of all, like, I'm part of so many Facebook groups that are like, let me look up actually some of my Facebook groups that I'm on. And I don't know if people are into Facebook. I have no idea. But, let's see. I'm on my other computer right now. I have, like, there's one called Crew Stories. I know there's Local Zero Heroes, Movie Set Memes. There's, let's see, where are the other ones? But there's like a number of different groups I'm on in Facebook that have like certain stories, and people share them all the time. And like, I think a really good way is like when you have industry friends, they'll share a story, and then like I find it from them too, which is really great. But also there is Variety.com. There is Deadline. There's the Hollywood Reporter. There's also let's see, if you want to know about people's budgets and stuff, it's like, I think movie, gosh, let me type it in because I know it's like movie box office. Box Office Mojo. I was like Mojo something. So yeah, Box Office Mojo will tell you like certain budgets of movies and like all the production stuff in it. And let's see. Yeah, most of it's like Entertainment Weekly is another one. Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, Deadline. Yeah, those are like the main ones that I always get my news from. And if it's big news as far as film goes, then it'll just be on the main news. If it's like a huge story, like the whole thing that happened with Rust in Albuquerque or whatever, it was so big that it was like on all the news channels. So okay, so we're back to Evan's question. Oh my lord. Sometime production shoot in poor neighborhood. So first of all, I don't know why I don't like this question, because being someone that was raised in a very poor neighborhood, I guess there are some times where you can say, yes, poor neighborhoods are unsafe, or like if you're in a an urban community where it's not just white people think it's unsafe, and I think that's bullshit. So there is a lot to unpack as far as that question is concerned, because unsafe neighborhoods can happen anywhere, whether it's like in suburbia or not, or if it's in rural area or not. Because like, if I'm in a rural area, I'm worried about animals and wildlife. Am I worried about getting like mugged or something like that? No. Am I worried about like when we're shooting in the city? In Midtown, there might be, someone who might be like off their meds, and I'm not even joking. I'm not saying that as a joke, but like they might just get a little like aggressive, and we might have to have like locations come help us, or a police officer come help us, because they're like, they won't let us shoot. Poor neighborhoods, though, I mean, there's a lot to talk about as far as like shooting in poor neighborhoods, because we're like exploiting certain areas and certain stuff like that. So I don't like this question. I'm sorry, Eric. But I feel like there are certain things that would make certain productions unsafe, and I think the people in the neighborhood is not one of them, I guess you would say. I don't know, that's how I feel about it. Some other people might have something other to say, but like, just because you might be in a poor neighborhood doesn't mean the people are going to be like out there trying to rob you or whatever you think the case may be. But I don't know, I don't like the question. Moving on. Yeah, so let's see, how long have I done this? Oh my god, I've been live for an hour and a half. Oh my god. All right, last minute questions. I'm about to wrap this up. I'm losing my voice. And we're gonna figure out how to get this chat going. I'm pretty upset that I cannot get this chat going. I'm very upset about this. So lame. Let's see. There was a picture you showed that had two big binders filled with paper, and you mentioned you had to turn it in. Could you explain what they were? I can't remember the name. Sorry. So those were my DGA book. So that is the book that you need to submit to the DGA to get on the qualifications list to get into the DGA to be able to take work as a union AD. It is super complicated. So yeah, so that's for the DGA, the Directors Guild of America. So I, as a union on union shows, so here's the thing, as you asked if PAs had a union. No, but as PAs, we are allowed to work on union shows, because otherwise the show wouldn't it would just fall apart with no PAs on it. So I need 600 days as a PA. I gotta put it in these books, and then I submit it, and they have to check it. And actually, my first submission got rejected because of like certain duplicates, certain blank information on call sheets that was not my fault, and like certain pay information that they needed updated. Like for example, like I submitted certain tax documents, because here's the thing: is you need call sheets, you need your pay stubs, you need PRs. So you need your PRs if your name is not on the call sheet. Like for example, when you're first starting out as an additional set PA, you might be called on the call sheet TBD if they didn't book you well in advance. They don't know your name yet. And just to save time, the second AD who's making the call sheet will just put TBD, meaning to be determined, whoever that person is. If that happens, you need your PR to prove that you worked that day. And you also need your pay stub to prove that you're paid for that day. And it's very time consuming to collect all these documents. But yeah, so that is the book that you submit to the DGA to be qualified to work as a union AD. So it's like you have to get on the qualifications list, do your first day on a union set, which I have done actually this year. I didn't even talk about that. I did my first day as a union AD in November. It was great. And I did 3 days actually. And once you do your first day, they will send you an application for the DGA. And when you do your first day, you get the application, then you owe initiation fee, which is like almost $8,000. First of all, it's just like crazy. And there's a payment plan available, and you have to get your book or your application endorsed by other second ADs, because that's the the tier you're entering. It's all it's super complicated. That's why I'm going to make a video on it, because it's so complicated. So you never throw away no, God, don't ever throw away a call sheet. I don't know what you want to do with your career, but just in case you want to be an AD or you want a certain job, because also to get into other unions, you have to prove that you've done those days. So a call sheet is like a legal document, and you need to hold on to those legal documents. Never throw away any call sheets at all. The gun violence territory, most movies, Eric's asking, so the gun violence territory, most movies about the underdog protagonists are generally shot in those neighborhoods. I apologize if I offended. It's not that you offended me. I think that it's just a little bit of like, not ignorance, but you just don't know what it's like over here, I guess. The gun violence territory. I mean, I guess, yes, that sometimes it might be shot in those types of areas, but like, I get what you're saying, but I just can't, like, I don't know. I can't imagine actually being in a neighborhood where, like, you might be in an abandoned neighborhood sometimes. They shoot those things, but they wouldn't actually, like, sometimes shoot those things in an actual dangerous area. Or if we are, then there's usually sometimes extra police on hand to make sure nothing does happen. So I hope that answers your question. But yeah, back to Zoe. Don't throw out any call sheets. Oh my God. Let's see. I think I'm gonna wrap it up. If you guys have any other questions, I think there's a delay as far as like me being on here asking the questions and then you putting the questions in. So I hope I get everyone's questions in on time before I close this chat. So I hope everyone had a good year. I hope that whatever you guys are. Oh, we have one more question, Zoe. Do producers pay for your travel? So it depends. And when you are asked to work as a local, that means they are not going to pay for your travel. When you're in a union, you could be hired as a distant hire. And when you're hired as a distant hire, they will pay for your travel, they will pay for your accommodation, and they will give you per diem. So a distant hire, you get everything paid for. If you're hired as a local, you get nothing. So I hope that answers your question. So it just depends on what you're hired as, because sometimes, like, for example, when I took the job in Atlanta, I was hired as a local, right? So I wasn't getting like per diems and like stuff like that. So all right, that is it. I'm gonna end it here. I hope everyone has a good year. I hope everyone that, you guys have a great 2022. I know there are some COVID things happening and Omicron's on the rise. Unfortunately, a lot of shows have gotten shut down. Like mine got cut short actually a couple days because of COVID. I had 2 people go get test positive, and thank you, Eric. Oh my God, Caleb, shut up. Hey, Caleb. Hi, Caleb. So gosh, I lost my train of thought. Thanks a lot, Caleb. Thank you, Zoe. So I hope everyone has a good year, and I hope that everyone stays safe, and just make sure you don't bring back COVID or whatever. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. That already happened. It was like in the beginning of like December. But yes, I hope everyone has a good new year, and I hope 2022 is good to everybody. So that is it, guys. I shall see you.